Ba-na-ba-ba-na-ba. All right, here we go. Hey, welcome everybody to the Hurt Locker. We are live here, 8:15 p.m. West Coast time. A little late for you, Liam, over there on the East Coast. A little 11:15 kickoff. Here we go.
We're
I
staying up
like
for the
it.
good stuff. Can't wait.
I like it. Yeah. It is what it is. Got a schedule around it. This is good, man. This is good. If you guys want better quality pictures, sound, and chat, please go follow on X. You can watch it live on X, or if you want, you can also, which this helps us out tremendously. So I'd actually really appreciate if you would do this instead. Go to the YouTube channel Total Coverage Sports. Thank you again for tuning in. Just down there on the bottom on the ticker. Again, welcome to the Hurt Locker, guys. I'm your host, Logan Herner. Got good buddy here, Liam Neighbors, still rocking the A&M stuff after a not so great weekend last weekend, but it's all right. It's okay. We're kind of gonna kick it off with just that to start actually, and just go some recaps of last weekend and some big games and rivalry weekend. A&M Texas, we won't touch on it too much, but all I'm gonna say is, like I told you, was don't overreact. It is one game. Like, I know you guys didn't have the greatest repertoire of games previously going into a big one like that, as far as Texas, being obviously the biggest team you guys really played all year. Biggest game, whether you guys were ranked top 5 in the country, top 3 in the country, or even a non-ranked team, that is still the biggest game of the year. Now that rivalry is back. So don't overreact. Texas is still a decent team. Obviously, they've beat 3 teams that are ranked opponents, that are pretty solid opponents. And now the question is, are they deserving of getting into a playoff spot? There is an argument on both sides of, yes, I think they could, because of the teams they have played and they have beaten, because of their resume and what they have. Obviously, they played a team like Ohio State to start the year and competed in that game. And Ohio State right now, to me, looks like probably the best team in the country, from what I just saw against Michigan this last weekend. So to me, they do have an argument for them getting in. But my other argument is, you lost to a Florida team who's really, really bad. And if you are a caliber type team that should be in the playoff, you're not slipping up against a team like Florida and losing that game. Arch Manning, he does just enough to win. That's kind of how I see even this last weekend against A&M. Nothing like overly impressed me again with him. It's not like, oh, wow, he's a top caliber arm talent. This guy makes tough throws. He's got the whole package. He's a runner. That's really where he brings the table, is just his legs, and his mobility can hurt you. He makes the throws for the most part. Most of the time he makes the throws that he should make, guys that are wide open. He made a throw in that game to a guy wide open in the end zone, and he damn near overthrew him, the guy, to make an amazing catch to score. And if he, again, he almost overthrew the guy, and that would have been a huge detriment, because it was 3rd and long. Actually, I think it was 4th down even. They went forward and ended up scoring off that. So there's still little things about him where he's got some growing pains. He's got some certain things that he's got to get through. And it's just tough for you to watch, tough for me to watch, because I was rooting for you guys to just, see you guys kind of not crumble, but it was a struggle. There was certain aspects of the game where it was like, I felt like you guys had some momentum. You guys were looking okay. The defense, to me, still showed up and actually played pretty well. But I think the ground game of Texas, for the first time all year, they had a 100-yard rusher in a single game. So they kind of ate you guys up a little bit on the ground. So it kind of exposed A&M in that in that aspect of the football game. But to not overreact, you guys only have one loss. You're getting the playoff. You're still going to a dance. Texas doesn't know if they're going to be playing in the GoDaddy.com KFC Chicken Bowl, or if they're actually going to be in the playoffs. They don't really know. I want to hear kind of what you think about Texas maybe making it in, and what, where you guys stand now as an A&M football team, and what you think.
Well, not to overreact, but that sucked. Winning
To say the
11
least,
straight
right?
games, finish it. We were this close to having a perfect regular season and having it broken, on the road by a rival. Like, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Like, yeah, we could dance on them and say we were undefeated and we're going to a playoff, and they're not. I'm not going to do that, right? I want a couple playoff games first, and then maybe talk a little smack. But it sucks losing to your rival, especially on the road. I don't know if they're going to make it in the playoff. I completely understand why Sark is making an argument for them, right? They've got all the multiple top 10 wins. I would just say that Ohio State game is the only reason why they're still being considered to make the playoff with 3 losses. They're like, why do we schedule the games? The game should matter. Totally agree. But if you scheduled, pick a random FCS school in week 1,
Yeah,
along with the rest of your
if they play Rice week 1,
right,
and
right.
pound them to death, they're in.
And they
And
already played. They already played. San Jose State, and I think Sam Houston State or UTEP. Or I think it's UTEP.
yeah,
Also in September. So if you play cupcakes all the way through with no tough out of conference games, and you're still 10-2 because you lost to Florida, they wouldn't even be considered. They'd be lower, in my opinion. But that Ohio State game kept them in it enough. And hats off to them,
well,
right? They played a tough
and
game.
they're lucky as early as it was to start the year when things aren't clicking, and it was a true freshman quarterback who has never played before. It's his first college start, didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
Again, just did enough to win the game.
Yep.
And I don't want to keep beating the dead horse, but with Arch, to me, it's just nothing jumps off the page to me like that guy is going to lead a team to a national title. The talks early on in the year of, hey, this guy's a Heisman type candidate.
Well, they can't. Here's the thing: they can't run the ball. And I get what you're saying about Arch, and it's easy. I'm not saying you're a hater, but like it's easy to hate on him because of his name, and he's like got all this hype around him. But when you can't run the ball, like you said, that was Texas's first 100-yard rusher of the season, and it's game 12. Like you're not helping any quarterback. I don't care how talented you are.
No,
So.
yeah, you have to have established a run game to be able to have play action, to have it. It creates so much more
Right.
openings as a quarterback and a lot more opportunity for you rather than, hey, we know you have to throw the football. So what we're going to do is, hey, we're going to bring the house and blitz you to make you beat us with your arm. Or if you have a good enough pass rush, we can just go with 4 and drop everybody in coverage and see if you can pick us apart, which he hasn't been able to show that he could do that. So
he started the game, I think, either 5 for 15 or 5 for 17 passing. And I knew once we couldn't capitalize on so many 3-and-outs and so many quick drives,
right.
It was possibly going to be a long night. That compounded with obviously Marcel Reed getting hurt, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and the overreaction, don't overreact to it. I think A&M still has a very solid football team. This is more of a kind of a wake-up call. It's actually the perfect time. It's the perfect time instead of losing a game early to where you're like, man, we shouldn't have lost the game like that, to where later on in the year you're seeing a team that is playing for their Super Bowl. Literally, this is everything that they've ever wanted. This is exactly what they want. And to the point where they couldn't even ruin your season, really. Yeah, they could ruin your undefeated season, but they couldn't ruin you to get you out of the playoff. You're still in, and they might be. So for them, it was this huge national championship in itself playing against A&M. They have a lot of emotion. They're at home. I think that also helped. The amount of false starts and penalties killed you guys in that game. You flip the script, and you guys get to play at home against Texas this year with these two teams. I'm taking A&M in that matchup if we had to go, 10 games there. I'm taking 9 out of 10. I'm taking A&M all day long, but you gotta flip it and go the other way around. And that's not an easy place to play. And Marcel, I think with all the talent in the world that guy has and the capability he has, what really hurts him is, again, throwing the football. That it comes at times
so many talented
waves.
Receivers too. He was out of time, out of rhythm, and he was off all night. And I wish we were able to run the ball more because the run game opens up so much more for the pass, and it just nothing was there. There's no rhythm at all, which is crazy because Colin Klein, we'll get to him taking the Kansas State job here later tonight, but he's been so good. I mean, even the games that A&M struggled to score in, like Auburn, we won 16-10. They moved the ball up and down the field, just couldn't finish drives.
Right.
He just there's something about Texas the last 2 years where we just cannot move the ball to save our lives at all. I don't know what it is. It's like, could we have another OC just for that one game? I guess we're going to have another OC next year.
And what's even better about playing Texas, it's not like you played, it's Oregon State, Oregon at the end of the year, and Oregon State's terrible, and Oregon gets this walk-in cupcake game, or should be, and then you lose to a team that you really have no business losing to. At least this team, at least this is a respectable football team that does have a good front, that ultimately does have a good defense. Their lack has been on the offensive side of the ball as well. So, again, just don't overreact. You guys are going to be fine.
It just hurts. It hurts because you're losing to a rival, right? To ruin so many expectations when I think this is the first time in my life that we were favored going into DKR, even by 2 points, right? So to have the expectation of, hey, 12-0's in front of us, SEC championship in front of us, possible top 2, top 4 seeding out there and getting a first round bye. Now we're more than likely going to have to, hosting a playoff game at Kyle Field is going to be an experience that's second to none, right?
Yeah.
That being said, I'd rather be sitting at home watching everyone else than having to play Alabama or a rematch of Notre Dame again, because that's
Yeah.
what we're staring down the barrel of. So
Well, you got to beat the best to get where you want to go anyway, and you're going to have to play them
true,
eventually if you want to get to the Natty anyway. So you know what?
true,
Let's get him
and there's
let's get him at Kyle Field at a home game, and then
sure.
let's talk. You know what I mean? We'll
There's
be
no one
okay.
to blame but yourself either, right? It's not like, oh, the committee seeded us poorly. We're complaining about the 7th seed over the 6th seed because of Ole Miss. You can complain all you want. If you beat Texas, there's nothing to complain about. So
Yep, exactly.
it's just where we're at right now.
Well, let's move on. Let's go to the UGA Georgia Tech game. UGA with a close-ish type game, and I say close-ish because it was 16-9 final score. UGA with the dub.
Mm-hmm.
UGA really manhandled them all game. They controlled the line of scrimmage. It didn't look close in that aspect of things. They just couldn't get in the end zone. We were just talking about moving up and down the field and not really getting any points out of it. That was Georgia. They were really moving up and down the field. They just literally could not get in the end zone, and they were even trying to go for it on 4th down or trying to do extra things to create opportunity to get there instead of taking points like field goals and just field goal kicking the whole time, which they still ended up doing some of that anyway. It was a low-scoring game, but ultimately, UGA really controlled the game. Haynes King didn't do much. That was kind of the only option for Tech was like, hey, could this guy keep them in the game like he's done so many times before in other big-time matchups against a maybe possibly the best team in the nation type caliber, and we saw the results. So I'll go with a solid win against the rival who you just never know is going to show up. It's a rivalry game for a reason. Took care of business. So now with this preview of the weekend we'll talk about later, same old UGA Bama type story, which I know people are like, gross. I don't care. Same old thing. But I'm still excited for it because it's good football. And you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a nasty, physical, beat you up type of game. And that's kind of what you can expect again from an SEC football, 2 caliber teams like this.
Well, it's gonna be classic SEC football, right? Well, to go back to the Georgia Tech game, it seemed like Georgia's defense was just hair on fire the entire game. They took last year personally, going to 8 overtimes in another classic, right?
Yeah.
43-42 or 43-41, something like that.
and that's
eight
and
overtimes.
Again, that's a Tech team that probably has no business doing that. And
no,
they did.
Haynes King playing hero ball all night. I think Georgia had to come back and win that one.
Yeah.
So they took this one a lot more personally. It seemed like there was a lot to be desired left on the field, though, from an offensive standpoint. And I don't believe there's any such thing as, we're saving some looks for Bama. It's like you already played them. You have 12 games of film, right? I just don't think they were playing their A game, and it felt like they were playing maybe almost at an FCS level, because you know how those Kirby Smart teams, they on the scoreboard, it doesn't look like they blow out an FCS team, even though they win 35-0 with giving up 70 total yards.
Playing down to your level, playing down to the competition type of feel. Yeah.
Right. So they were clearly better than Georgia Tech. They did what they had to win. Not dominant on offense, but their defense looked great compared to last year for sure. And then this Bama game is going to be awesome. Kirby, I'll say this: Kirby Smart's got an Alabama problem. I know the spread's 2.5 right now, and everyone's like, "Oh, Georgia's clearly better than Bama, just body of work wise." But Bama won once already. I think Kirby's something like 1-6 in his career against Bama, something like that.
Is the game in Atlanta?
It's in Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah. So it's on the same field they just played last week against Tech.
Yep, it's a Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah. So that alone I think is kind of a good feel for Georgia, just because it is basically a home game for them. So I'm sure they love that, and the fans will show up for that. And I again can't be more excited to watch good, solid SEC football, caliber type football.
So. Oh, it's gonna be must-watch TV, and it's the prime time 4 p.m. slot that no one else has. So we'll be locked in for sure.
Next one, Ohio State, Michigan. A little recap there. I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Ohio State really just manhandled this team. Michigan couldn't move the ball. Ohio State showed why they have a defense to reckon with that might be the best in the nation. They're showing why they should be actually the number 1 team in the nation. And Julian saying, man, I mean, he looked a little rough early on. He had the pick on the first drive of the game. And everybody's like, uh-oh, here we go again. It's going to be same old stories like last year where Michigan had no business being in a football game. And Michigan ended up beating them in just a drubbing of 13-10. And this was a little different. Obviously, 27-9 doesn't like jump out of the page to you. But they still manhandled Michigan the entire time. Bryce Underwood had a heck of a time. The OC at Michigan should be fired just because of what I witnessed. you can't expect a kid to ever get in rhythm in a football game when you don't throw the ball. They didn't throw the ball for literally 3 quarters, damn near. He was, I think, 6 of 8 halfway through the third quarter. I'm like,
with not even
how
100 yards passing, right?
how can you expect somebody to get in rhythm and to get a feel for the football game if you're never going to throw? And what does that do for a defense? It just tells you, okay, here we go. Run, 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 run. I mean, you got to
And the
mix
thing
it
is,
up.
too, you're paying so much for him that, and if that's your game plan to just run the ball, awesome, love it. You've beat them doing it before for the last 4 years, right? You just continue to run the ball. That being said, if you're going to pay him that much money, just pay someone else a quarter of that to run the ball and not even have the threat. Because I think I've seen Bryce Underwood live. He's very talented. He's very young and inexperienced. And you're going to go through some growing pains with him in this first year. Let him experience those. And then continue to build around him. You're always going to have a run game at Michigan, right? That's just, you're going to have an O-line, you're going to have running back.
You're a 2-touchdown dog to a team that you should lose to. You might as well let the kids spin it. And then the fact that the weather got worse, so now you're really not going to throw the football. And it was like, yep, well, you kind of set yourself up for that one. I mean, it was kind of one of those things where they needed to make a punch early, which they got the pick. First drive of the game. Again, we're thinking, here we go. Here comes Michigan. The defense is going to show up. Let's see, can they put points on the board? Can't put any points on the board. So there it is. If you could strike early, get a punch on them early, that's exactly what they needed, and they couldn't do that. It got them out of the game pretty quickly. And Ohio State showed, hey, we have the run game. We have the defense. Julian Sayin then relaxed. He came into himself. He made the throws that he should have, and it was a lot better. Ohio State, they ultimately just dominated. I forgot about the chat. Are you laughing at the chat?
I'm looking at the chat. We'll get to the chat in a second. So you're a Michigan guy, right? You're not the biggest Michigan fan, but you do like them.
I root for them because of my dad. So.
Sure. After the first field goal and then the interception, were you thinking, oh my God, it's happening again?
Yeah, no, and we all were. We go to just a little insight for everybody. Liam knows, but we go over to my dad's buddy's house, really good friend of his. He grew up in Ohio, huge,
massive Ohio
State guy, and I think I mentioned this last show. Like he has toilet paper in his bathroom that says Michigan on it, so you can wipe with Michigan toilet paper. He despises them, and as he should. And so, yeah, we went over there, and you could look, the look on his face was like, here we go. We're going to lose 5 straight to this freaking team that has no business being on the field with us talent-wise. And my dad's laughing. I'm kind of chuckling because I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be good. And he's going to freak out, and he's going to get pissed off. And then it just complete 180, and it went for the better for Ohio State fans. So, again, I'm excited. I'm excited to see them. Excited to see them this weekend as well with a really, really probably the number one matchup I want to see this weekend, Ohio State, Indiana.
100%. Yeah, for a game that means so much to Indiana and really not that much to Ohio State. I get it, Big Ten championship, undefeated season still, but like Indiana hasn't won the Big Ten in 60 plus years. Ohio State won it yesterday. So that's gonna be super fun. I'm excited. Andre in the chat, he won against a Super Bowl winning DC. Wink Martindale. I would love to hear Michigan's fans' thoughts on how Wink's done this year. I think they've been pretty good. I haven't watched every single second of every single game, but I don't think that's not what's losing them games.
No.
And also, if you told me Michigan would go 9-3 to end the year with a true freshman
with a rebuild year.
Rebuild year, yeah. I wouldn't be mad about that at all. Like, tell that to somebody in August? No. And then he also asked, Vol Nation here from Chattanooga, do you think the Vols are catching up to Georgia and Bama in recruiting?
Hey, shout out Andre. Thank you for tuning in. Also, just want to shout you out there. And thank you for interacting in the chat. Appreciate that. Gives us something else to talk about on here. And yeah, hello from Chattanooga. Vols catching up to Bama and Georgia in recruiting.
So I've got 24/7 pulled up right now in the recruiting rankings. Right now for the 2026 class, they're ranked 7th in the country, right behind Ohio State, Georgia, and Bama. So wow. I would say they've caught up. Unless something changed.
That is kind of the definition of catching up. Yeah.
Early signing day was yesterday. Now he might be asking too, like, can they consistently do this and finish as a top 10 class?
Right.
I don't know. I know it was kind of a down year for them, but I think Tennessee and Michigan were kind of in the same boat as each other. Like if you told me again, after losing Nico and losing a lot of other talent to the transfer portal and the draft, that you'd go, I think, did they finish 8-4, 9-3? I know obviously that loss to to Vandy hurts really bad. I believe they were 9-3.
I just
But
want to say
regardless,
I have kind of become a. I'm not gonna say I'm a Tennessee fan because all my Georgia family would literally come through
that
this
you can't say
camera
that. Yeah.
and probably cut me. So I'm not gonna say that, but I will say I've much more respected Tennessee and Tennessee football over the years because of Juwan Jennings, because I'm a Niner fan, and I loved watching him in college, even when he had the miraculous catch against Georgia and ruined what they had going that year.
Yeah, the fighting Butch Joneses.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I appreciate the Vols in that aspect, and again of just good football. They are a type of team that it's never the team of they're gonna win a national championship, but this is the team where if you got to go play Tennessee,
I disagree.
you better have your A game on
I
because they can
disagree.
beat you on any given Saturday. That's how
I
I
think
see
if
them, but yeah.
I disagree. I think if Tennessee can actually play some competent defense for once in their life and not give up 35 a game, they can absolutely make a run in the playoffs and any given year win a championship. But like
Well,
I was saying,
but that's what I mean. Like they've never had both aspects of the football where they are competing like that to
true.
where you're like, okay, this team could do it. It's more of, well, if they had this, then they could do it.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by it. They're always good. They're never a team that you should sleep on. And he says, "We back Natty coming." I'm not gonna say that's not
Is
possible.
Joey Aguilar able to come back next year? I don't know. I don't know his stats. I thought he played very well this season, though, especially for coming in, missing spring ball,
Yep.
and just taking the spot out of App State. Like everyone was concerned about his turnovers previously in the Sun Belt. And they're like, how's he going to do in the SEC? And I thought Josh Heupel did a great job with him. They were able to still run the ball a decent amount, and they put up big numbers. Their defense just couldn't tackle,
Yep.
Division III dudes.
When you can't guard a parked car, it does seem to make things tough. Yes.
No. I like Tennessee
Dirty
though.
Dan,
I think they're going to be good for a while.
Dirty Dan, let's see. What are we saying here? He said UM should have picked up handoff merchant Bengal Branson. Couldn't couldn't agree more, dude. I literally watched that guy beat Oregon by literally just handing the ball off for an entire second half of football after throwing 3 picks in the 2 in the first half, 1 in the second. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, Bengal Branson, excellent handoff merchant. That guy is the best in the business.
And how much could they have gotten him for, you think?
Oh,
probably not $7 million a year, right?
No. Probably more like I'm gonna go a low number like 30,000.
Love that. Hand the ball off, I'll do it for free.
Yeah. Lane Kiffin put up light years behind. Feels like 98, Andre. Year 22, 24 now. Okay.
Well, I don't. Maybe. Lane Kiffin like light years behind in recruiting at LSU. I don't. I don't know when he landed the plane. I'm pretty sure the number 1 recruit in the country was there waiting for him. So I don't know how far. I mean, right now they're sitting 12th.
You can say whatever you want about Lane. You can call him a dirtbag, whatever you want, but he's going to attract people.
Well, that's why.
And it's LSU. It's going to attract itself. So
that's why he took the job. It was. I mean, he said it wasn't about the money, and I agree with him that it wasn't about the money because Ole Miss said they were going to pay match whatever he would get it at anywhere else. But the opportunity to LSU to recruit more in Louisiana, more resources, right? And not that Ole Miss is poor by any means. Like they are doing plenty well for themselves, but.
And again, you want to talk about teams. Yeah, you want to talk about teams and calibers of teams in the SEC. Ole Miss, another one of those teams. Never can sleep on them. Always decent. They're usually middle of the road or slightly above, kind of like Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And they can beat you on any given Saturday. Then you go to LSU, and it's just a whole nother.
I get it. Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes, he
did.
Okay.
Yep.
He said, Andre said Lane Kiffin put Tennessee light years behind. Yes, he did. But we moved on. He's been at 4 different schools since then, so it's fine.
Yeah, he's a was that homie hopper? He's a team hopper.
How soon do you think he leaves LSU? Or I'll flip it. How soon do you think LSU runs him out of the building?
I was gonna say runs him out.
Yeah.
I mean,
like Brian Kelly.
This next year, if LSU is not 10-2, I'm not saying obviously they're going to run them out in a year, but there's going to be a serious problem. We're going to jump into OU LSU right now, and OU beating LSU this last weekend, 17-13. Again, OU has been very good defensively all year.
Their defense is nasty.
LSU also has been really good defensively because last year we talked about not guarding a parked car. They couldn't tackle anyone last year, and that's why they lost the games they lost. But they had the offense. This year, they have no offense. Nussmeyer's looked pretty bad. They don't have a whole lot of weapons. So, yeah, Lane's having to come in and actually rebuild this place and kind of revamp it in a certain way. And he's done a great job at Ole Miss, obviously, this year. They've had some new parts and guys put in places, after losing Jackson Dart and guys like that. And they have shipped guys in and they have put up very, very competitive and good football. Defensively as well, you've seen Ole Miss tremendously better than they have been in the past. They put up enough points on offense. They're another team, man, that you cannot count them out of a national championship type run this year, because if they get in the right window of playing the right matchups here in the playoffs, you never know. I wouldn't count that team out, besides the fact that maybe Lane's gone and there's going to be some riffraff going on. But I wouldn't count that team out. But we got to stick on OU LSU and talk that topic, which we can, I don't want to touch on it too much because we're gonna talk about Lane here. But OU did beat LSU 17-13 this last weekend. Another drubbing, low-scoring matchup in SEC football. We're just gonna move on really quick. Let's go Oregon UW. Oregon with a 26-14 win over UW. It was a close game. UW tried to keep themselves in it, but ultimately just they don't have the firepower that Oregon has. Oregon's defense looked apart again. They looked solid. This is what we talked about previously last week of, does Oregon go in there, take care of business like they should, like they're projected to, like everybody thinks they will? And I would say for the most part they did in a rivalry game in a very crazy atmosphere at UW. I think they did take care of business. Dante Moore, still, he's the most upside quarterback that you can find for me, as far as this guy makes throws that like almost nobody can make, and it's really impressive. And then literally 3 throws later, there's a guy wide open 4 yards away from him, and he throws it 20 yards over his head. And you saw that in the UW game. There was many times in that game where they could have extended drives on like 3rd and short, 3rd and mid, and he couldn't make a pretty simple throw with guys like a lot of them were crossing routes, short, shallow routes that he really just could not complete accurately. And it's the throws that you got to make and you should make if you're that type of caliber quarterback. That's going to be what they say an NFL type guy, or a national championship type team. UW is not the greatest team in the world, so
no, but they passed another test, and that's a
but they did pass a test.
Trap game beyond all trap games. The last game of the year, right? You're already thinking playoffs. Probably not going to make the Big Ten championship. Having to go on the road in a tough environment and play a UW team that could beat you any given day, and they passed by in the one by 2 scores. So credit to them. I agree. Dante Moore throws one of the nicest passes I've ever seen. He's solid, but like you said, he misses some open guys too. We'll see when he starts playing tougher defenses, right? Because outside of Indiana, which he looked terrible in, the whole offense did. Outside of that, they haven't really played a good defense. Like USC stinks. UW's okay. So we'll see as they get into it. I think they're most likely going to get the 5 seed and have to play a G5 champ. So I don't think they'll be forced to do too much there. But you never know. They're also in an interesting situation too, because they're losing both their coordinators. Tosh Lupoi going to Cal, taking the head coaching job there, and then Will Stein going to Kentucky. So I think they're both going to coach throughout the playoffs, but just something to keep an eye on. And OU, just one quick note on OU, LSU. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen this season. Terrible. That being said, OU's defense is gross and will keep them in any game. And if Oklahoma can start, or if John Mateer can play like September John Mateer, they can make a run. But if they can't move the ball, find the 180-yard bomb for a touchdown to separate them in a game, they might be 1 and out.
Yeah, and he's the type of threat that could do that. They have the ability to like explode at any moment, is my kind of fear about OU, because they've been so good defensively and locking people down on that side. And then it's like, okay, when are they going to get the game where they're scoring 35 and Mateer's going crazy? that's kind of still what we're looking for. We're waiting for that moment. It's not going to get any
Mhm.
easier now because you're facing all the best teams in the nation now coming together for the playoffs. But it's a good moment. It's a shining star moment that guy could possibly make for himself. So I'm looking forward to that. I always look forward to watching Mateer play. He's
Me too.
not a specimen, but kind of. He's got that little the white boy Johnny Swagger Jackson Dart type thing to him that is fun to watch. It just brings attention to you. So yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to that and
He's
watching
got
that
the
play.
big playability and the big
Yes.
pop ability. We have it ever since he had the hand surgery, right? Shout out Dr. Shin. But ever since that hand surgery, he just hasn't been himself, right? I don't know if it's still that way or if there's other things going on. But when he's on, it is very fun to watch. And when, again, combined with the OU's defense, they can make a deep run. But again, if we're going to keep getting performances like we saw against LSU, um, for how good their defense is, they're just not going to cut it versus anyone in the top 25.
Yeah. Next one we had Alabama Auburn Iron Bowl. Obviously, it's always close. Come on, don't you know? Alabama 27-20 victory. They came out of there sneakily. And this is why people are coming up with the opinion that Georgia should take care of business. Georgia should put it to this team this weekend. The problem is Georgia didn't do that the first time they played. So here we go again. Georgia Bama coming up this weekend. You don't know really what's going to happen. This is a total toss-up. And I got to ride with the Dogs, obviously, because that is the FAM's team. I got to do it. But I'm not putting anything past what Bama can do because they are Alabama and it is a rivalry game, so to speak, just because they always play each other. They seem like they always end up here. So Auburn obviously did not have the season that everybody was hoping for out of Auburn fans down there. But the rivalry game kept it going. It kept it alive. It was still a good atmosphere per usual. It was a fun game to watch. Alabama comes out on top. We'll see how they look this weekend.
Jordan Hare looked insane. I still believe that Auburn is haunted for Alabama. Granted, they came out with the win, and the Gravedigger played 2 years ago or 3 years ago now. Totally got all that, but it's just always a crazy game in Auburn. If Auburn didn't have, I want to say 7 drops from receivers and tight ends in that game, I think they would have won that game. I know Cam Coleman, the fumble at the end to possibly tie or take the lead and go for it, was a big thing late, but I stopped counting the number of drops that Auburn had, and it was just crushed me to watch because I thought that they could do it. They had Bama stumbling. As soon as they got out to the 17-0 lead, Bama just seemed to just take their foot off the gas and let Auburn come back. I thought it was going to happen, and Bama still found a way to cover too. The spread was 6.5.
I was gonna say, I was just about to say it when you were done talking was, guys, I took the -6.5 and I was sweating. I was sweating. And like, come on, there's no way that this is gonna happen to me. There's no way. But barely got out of there with that one. I'm reading the chat here. Andre still going off. He said, "Can't wait to see LSU drank up all the bourbon and take over the stadium like the last time we played them."
I do remember that day game for Tennessee. Yeah, cleared out the stadium just like A&M this year. Good times.
That's great. That is great. He says Kirby just knows how to cheat. That's the only reason why Georgia's winning.
Probably a little more to that than just cheating, but I think Glenn
probably
Sheehan
not
and
just cheating.
Mike Bobo have done a decent job there too. But as a Tennessee guy, I completely understand.
Yeah, he said Tennessee would have beat the hell out of LSU this year in our defense. Sorry, we would have looked like the 85 Bears. I'm not gonna deny the fact that they probably would have beat the hell out of LSU because LSU's offense was, which I said they were pretty abysmal this year compared to last year where they were putting up video game numbers. This year they were not putting up video game numbers. Unless you were a 4-year-old playing NCAA 26, then it would have more looked like video game numbers. We're not going to spend too much time on it. We got coaching carousel that we got to get to. Coaching carousel, guys. What a freaking madness it's been in the last week. And I can't really explain more in further depth of like how excited I am for some of these positions and the guys that have filled there. And just, I'm looking forward to seeing how they turn out. The other ones that I have some opinions on, they're like, wow, this is just horrible. This first one we'll start out with James Franklin going to Va-Tech. I know you literally just need a job, James, and that's why you took this position. Besides Enter Sandman, this team, I don't know what this does for you. I don't know what the attraction is. don't get me wrong. I want to go to a game there so I can go be a part of Enter Sandman in the intro. That is like top bucket list. One of the things I got to do. But besides that, Vautech has been so bad for so long. And they've just gotten worse. I mean, losing to Old Dominion and some teams this year that you baffle your eyes at, like, wow, there's no way that actually happened. James Franklin takes a position here. Again, the guy needs a job, and I think that's ultimately the reason why he took this. There's so many spots that opened up. It makes me wonder, like, I mean, should he have waited? Would he have got a better opportunity to maybe take something else? Because there was spots, man. There was all these other positions that this guy could have
That's a
taken.
good take. To be honest, I had Virginia kind of penciled in as his job for a while now. I think they fired Brett Pry pretty early on, knowing that they would want to take the first big target off the board.
Yeah.
Because I don't think at the time they knew that they fired him. They fired Pry early enough where I don't think they knew most of the SEC jobs.
It was after the Old Dominion loss, and they were just like, "Yeah, you're gone."
And that was around the time Franklin was gone too. So I think they had him kind of penciled in already. I get Virginia Tech's been down, and it sucks Brett Pry didn't work out because I thought he would, and I like Virginia Tech. But James Franklin's done nothing but win. Again, throw this year out the window.
Yeah.
He had a bad 3-game stretch, an inexcusable 3-game stretch. But throw this year out the window, and he's gone 9-3 or better pretty much every year since his time at Vanderbilt, when pre-Clark Lee and all that turned them around first before him. So I would expect Virginia Tech, especially with NIL and guys being able to portal in and pay guys to come in a little bit more, I would expect Virginia Tech to finish top 4 in the ACC next year. We'll see after this January portal closes too, but I expect at least 8 wins from them next year, possibly more, pending on their schedule and portal. Yeah, because all Franklin does is win, and you see him flipping all the Penn State recruits right now over. I don't know where they are in recruiting as a whole. Let's see if I can pull that up, but they're 23rd right now. They got 8 4-stars, 15 3-stars.
I just look at the like I said, that my take is, man, why didn't you wait a little longer? You took this job pretty. Franklin. I mean,
I think he wanted to get going on the recruiting trail.
He took this job pretty early compared to all these other guys that are now moving around. And I do get that aspect of, hey, I think we should get on this early. And I actually was literally just about to say this, and I'm reading in the chat here. He said James Franklin going to get them right. Lots of talent in Virginia and the Carolinas, which I was just about to say. There's a lot of talent over in those states and in that area that I think he could gather from. And just from his name, hey, I was at Penn State. Like you said, I was really successful here for many years. Yeah, I didn't necessarily win the big games, but I won. I was a winner. And Vautech is in that sort of spell right now where, as a fan base, they're looking for just somebody that can win some freaking games. They know they're not a natty contender. They know we're not a world beater. We're here to have a great atmosphere. We need to win some games, and this could be a really good coaching gig for him.
Dude, but what if they become a natty contender and start winning the ACC?
And again, he's a winner, so it could happen. You never know. And the ACC is an absolute crapshoot. I mean, you witnessed Louisville and Clemson and SMU losing to Cal this weekend, and Virginia and Duke. I mean, we've
got a 7-5 Duke team playing in the ACC championship game.
And
that's all you need to know.
Exactly why he could sneak in, and this is the exact reason why he could sneak in and maybe make a name for himself even at Vautech and be productive and be successful there. But I just look at the list of all these other jobs, like in terms of, is this a better job or worse or equivalent? So I mean, I kind of just want to go through this for fun and just kind of see like what you think. So I mean, you have jobs that maybe he could have been open to or taking. Again, I think it's a good fit because it's East Coast. It's kind of where he was in Pennsylvania. It's not too far. So I think that's kind of a good look for him because he can still recruit and kind of be comfortable in the same area he was in. He'll get some flips over from probably kids he was already talking to coming to Penn State, maybe coming to Vautech. So, I mean, there is that aspect of it because you're looking at other jobs. You have like Oklahoma State.
Never going to take that.
Never going to take that job. But I would say that's kind of an equivalent type of caliber football team, at least as of late, as Vautech. Kent State, never going to take that job. Cal, probably never going to take that job. I know it's ACC, but total West Coast, probably not a great look. Auburn, not probably going to look at him, I wouldn't imagine. If
I were Auburn, I would have looked at him.
I would have looked at him, but then you look and see what they just got, and you're like, okay, I mean that does make sense. This is kind of, I think, a better fit for what Auburn was maybe needing anyway.
I agree. They almost butchered it though, because they had John Summerall until the last second.
Yeah.
And then that fell through at the last deal, and then DJ Durkin almost took that job.
And then
Crazy. That was a crazy last couple hours of that.
And then obviously LSU taking Lane Kiffin. Penn State still looking for a job. Florida. I mean, the only one that I was kind of looking at was maybe that Florida job, when knowing that Napier was maybe going to be out of there, but taking Summerall, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas, that's not a better job.
Same boat as Oklahoma State and Virginia Tech, just in a different conference.
Yep, that's definitely not a better job. UCLA, definitely not a better job. That's a horrible, horrible spot to be. Stanford, definitely not. Ole Miss, I mean, I don't think that's a bad job at all. I think that's probably maybe a better job than Vatek. But again, I think for where he's at and comfortable in the East Coast, that's kind of a perfect spot and a perfect opportunity to like a boom or bust, like you're saying. Like, what if they do make a run like that? Which I think they have that opportunity. And then you have like Michigan State. No one in their freaking right mind should want that spot right now after what Jonathan Smith just imploded there. Colorado State, no way. North Texas, no way. UConn, no. Oregon State, go baby. I'm happy with what I got, boys. Sorry, I don't even want James Franklin. I don't even want James Franklin. Coastal Carolina, no. USF, no. Tulane, no. Memphis, no. Kentucky,
no. It really was the perfect landing spot for him. I think.
I just wanted to do that just to look and be like, is there something that was better on this page besides maybe like 2 spots? No,
right.
I think it was a great opportunity and spot for him to fill in at.
The possibility to win at Virginia Tech, coupled with the smaller lack of expectation, I guess, compared to a school like Arkansas, that in the grand scheme of things, no one expects them to win, but at that school they do.
Yeah.
So I think Virginia Tech is a perfect spot for him, and if he's successful there, it's big enough where he could stay, and it's not like a leapfrog to the next program, or he can leave and go take the next job at Auburn or Florida or LSU or whatever spot becomes available next, higher up in the SEC or Big Ten. But I think he's going to crush it at Virginia Tech. If we're giving grades out, like I'd give it an A.
All right, so we got to go.
Yeah, I'm down.
We got to go to a game. That's that. If we're thinking maybe they're going to be good, which I totally agree. I think they definitely could be. We got to make that happen, dude. A night game with some Enter Sandman is calm.
That first Enter Sandman with James Franklin next year is going to hit like crack. I can't wait to see it.
Hit like crack. Next one we got Auburn. So Hugh Freeze obviously out the door. Alex Golesh coming in. Liam, you can take the wheel on this one. I know you got some thoughts on this one and what you think about Golesh. So go ahead.
I love Alex Golesh. I think this is a great pick for Auburn. Great hire for Auburn. Like I said earlier, I think they had Summerall, and then it kind of fell through. And then I think the Iron Bowl was kind of predicated on who they were going to hire after that. Because if they beat Bama, I'm very confident they were going to hire DJ Durkin, which I think is a mistake. Right? I got no problem if they keep him on as defensive coordinator. I don't think he'd be their guy as a head coach, in my opinion. Golesh is the perfect mix of offense, knows his stuff. They will not struggle at quarterback from here on out, which has been a real issue for him for the last decade or so. So they'll be great on offense, great quarterback play, and he has head coaching experience. I think he would have been okay right out of Tennessee after they had that year with Hendon Hooker, and they shut out the Vols again, and making a run. But he has head coaching experience and wins at South Florida, right? I think he was there when they played Bama close. They continue to win. It's a great hire for him, and just watch with the resources that Auburn can provide. They're one of those teams that could go from 5-7 again this year to very quickly, maybe not competing for the SEC championship game, but definitely be knocking on the doorstep of a playoff. I would not be surprised. I'm not saying it'll happen, but I would not be surprised at all within the next year or two. Auburn is right back there.
Yep. Yeah, and that's right where they were to begin with. The Cam Newton days, and even with Nick Marshall
days.
Guys. Yeah. That's right where they need to be, and obviously the fan base is fiending for that again. They've been lacking that aspect, so we'll see we'll see how Golich does there. Next one, obviously, probably the biggest one.
Mm-mm-mm.
Good old Lane Kiffin going to LSU. What a crazy time. The airport, people flipping him off, booing him, yelling, screaming at him. That was a lot of fun. I did like that. Not saying like I like that happening to him, but
No,
I
it
just thought it
was
was
thoroughly
hilarious.
entertaining and peak college football.
Absolutely. I'm gonna shout out Jamarcus Shepard and the Beavs. Him sticking around with Bama through the playoffs shows what kind of coach DeBoer is, and allowing him to do that, and the staff and the players are fully have been embraceful with allowing him to come back and do that still while taking a head coaching gig for a team that needs a lot of help. And then you got guys like Lane Kiffin that's like, yep, we're in the playoff. We actually have a legit chance because we have a good defense and we do put up points and we have some good moments. I'm leaving. I'm going to a team that had a really bad year and I'm not continuing with you. Like, I don't know. I do think it's different because Shepard's obviously an assistant OC, a receiver coach. He's not a head guy. Being a head guy, knowing you're leaving to an SEC somewhat rival,
Kind of rival. Oh, yeah.
and then now, having a playoff team in it. I mean, that is a weird thing, and I don't think there's really any, as much as everybody's like, wow, what a dirt bag for just leaving, like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, you do got to get up and get going on things. And do you really think this guy doesn't want to go out there and go compete for a natty with the team that he's on? Of course he does.
Yeah.
Of course he does. But, if he really wants to get revamped and maybe have a national title chance with an LSU team, he's got to get going on the needle there. So
if I'm Ole Miss, I totally get why you're pissed at him and it would be forever. And I know he said, can we enjoy the 6 years? And I think maybe they will, maybe they won't, over time.
Yeah.
But just the way it happened, I think, is why everyone's upset. Dragging it out for weeks and weeks and weeks. The AD basically forcing him to be like, hey, you need to tell me by the end of the Egg Bowl if you're sticking around or not. And then just the way it all went down at the end, just it sucks for everyone involved. I get why he did it. I get why fans are pissed. I see both sides. I don't love that it happened either. And I'll just say this: how ironic would it be if he never makes the playoffs at LSU? I'm not wishing it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but how ironic
it would be a huge slap in the face, and then let alone Ole Miss ends up beating them next year or whatever. Like, it would be
what
a
if
huge.
Miss wins it all
slap
this
in the
year,
face.
or makes a run this year, and then
Yeah.
LSU never does, or maybe they make it to the playoff and nothing else. Like
Right.
this could all very well happen.
Yeah, revenge. The whole revenge tour, next year revenge tour. The revenge tour starts right now for Ole Miss. Like this is their moment to be like full revenge tour. Let's go out
Until
and
he
try to win a
coaches all their
natty
players.
until that happens. Yeah, I was just gonna say that could happen, but
We'll
or it couldn't, or they're totally a big F you. I'm not going there with you, and I'm sticking around here, going somewhere else.
LSU travels to Oxford next year. Just throwing that out there.
So Brian Kelly, I do want to touch on Brian Kelly. Is he just done? You think it's just that's it? Like, I'm done.
If I got that buyout to never coach again, you would not catch me on the field.
Bingo. That's what
just
I
like
said.
Jimbo, just like Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher's working at the ACC offices right now, doing their ACC game day stuff, having the time of his life. Like, I'm sure he might want to get back into the coaching, but you're making $76 million to not do that. Sign me up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I was saying too. I'm like, there's no reason why I would even look at a coaching job. I'm going sit in the Bahamas, sitting on a beach, drinking, watching football,
living on my ranch.
Yeah, doing absolutely nothing involving football, nothing. And I would with that type of payout too. Next big one, Florida.
I don't think Brian Kelly's likable enough either to come back to a smaller school. I think it's boom or bust.
Yeah,
and it's bust now.
Florida Billy Napier out, John Summerall in. Thoughts? What you got?
I don't understand why Florida fans are so upset about this. I've seen a lot of angry Gators online about, it's just Sunbelt Billy again, blah, blah, blah. The only reason they're mad about it is because he's coming from another smaller school, and it's a very Billy Napier-like situation. But I think this is totally different. And they just got Buster Faulkner as their OC today. I think that's a phenomenal hire. Georgia fans love it too, but it's the rivalry. I think Summerall is going to put together a really good staff. He already is, and they're going to win some games in the Swamp. Just like Alex Golesh, I think it's a great hire. I don't know if it'll work out in the long run, but again, that's another team I would expect to possibly be competing for SEC championships and at least touching the playoff in the next couple of years.
There's just certain teams in college football that need to be good, that makes college football better. Nebraska, right? Like when Nebraska is good, college football is better. When Florida is good, usually college football, I would say, is better. There's just certain teams that I think about all the time. Like, man, like I remember when those teams were really, really good. Or even my dad's like, man, I remember when Nebraska was running the triple option, winning national championships. I remember when that team was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, obviously we have the same type of teams every year. It's like Georgia, Bama, Texas, Oregon.
You're just getting fatigued from the same teams winning, is what it sounds like. Because I would push back on the first part of football's better when those teams are good. Because Nebraska hasn't been good since like 2016. Are you saying football's been bad for the last decade? Same with Florida.
I'm not saying football's been bad. It's more just like I miss seeing those names. I miss seeing those type of teams with those fan
Virginia
bases
Tech.
in it. Yeah, like but there's also the aspect of like Clemson. I'm happy Clemson's not in it every freaking year like they are. I'm glad they're out of the picture. Get somebody else in the picture. I'm glad Virginia has an opportunity to win the ACC. It's cool. It's cool as shit.
It's cool.
That to me is college football. I want new blood. Give me something new. Like I don't want to watch the same thing over and over and over and over. Like Miami now somewhat being better.
Texas Tech.
Like give me some new teams like that. A&M. Like even A&M being better. When's the last time A&M's done what they're done? They really haven't. And that's what I mean. These are the type of teams that I want in it. And it makes college football better. Like, yes, okay, give me the staple Georgia, Bama. Cool, I get it. Like, they're probably always going to be there. But just the aspect right now this year of having Ole Miss and having Texas Tech. And
I think I agree with all of them except for Virginia. And I only push back on that one because they're 9-3, a border. Like, they wouldn't make the playoff if they weren't going to win the ACC championship game. And I think that makes it tough when everyone beats each other and no one is great. I love seeing new teams that are great, like Texas Tech. It's tough to root for a Duke or Virginia when, they're not going to make the playoff without that automatic qualifier. But yes, for the most part, I agree with that.
All right, let's go here. But I was trying to find something. Something just sparked in my head and I'm trying to find it. It was some like statistic, but I don't remember where I freaking saw it.
Who is it for?
Where I saw it. It was a statistic on like that mentioned exactly of teams that like haven't been relevant for like a certain amount of time who were really, really good in a certain era, like the 90s. Like, I mean, Florida State, yeah, they actually were pretty good not that long ago with Jameis.
Won the Natty in 13.
And then they should have not been in the playoff 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But realistically, those are the only 2 years they've had in a really, really long time of being like dominant in a household type name. I'm trying to think of the other teams, man.
I mean, I would argue Texas, right?
Yeah.
Winning in, was it 05, 06?
It's been a long time. USC.
And then 09, I think, was 09, them and Bama.
When's the last time USC's been really relevant? They haven't.
No, they did just sign the number one class in the country. So that, I mean, if there's any time for them to be relevant, it's now. That
team should be the best team on the West Coast.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be close. SoCal,
well,
the campus,
Oregon,
the money.
Is USC Oregon right now 1 and 2 in recruiting.
And as it should be because of what Oregon has with freaking Uncle Phil. But I'm saying in terms of the location and having the place that they play in, the stadium that they play at, that team should just draw a crowd like nobody's business. And they
100%.
should be like they used to be. They should be like they were in the Pete Carroll days with having freaking Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and these guys. Like that should be it at USC. And we haven't seen that in a long time. I'm not saying I miss it because I love watching USC lose. I love watching those teams that were part of that Pac-12 conference for so long lose. Like I don't take any more pride and joy than anyone else by watching them take an L. But it is the aspect of I do miss that in college football, and I'm just sick of watching freaking Oregon be good every year. Like, can I get somebody else that I know is going to come out of the West Coast that's going to be good? Like, please, I'm waiting, still waiting.
But it is fun watching Oregon lose and saying next year's our year after finishing with a top 5 class
It's
every
always
single
their
year.
year, isn't it? It's
It's
always
always
their
their
year.
year. Just
Always.
wait. Just wait.
Um, the only other two I wanted to get to, let's do the Kansas State. Let's do Colin Klein, because I know we both are Colin Klein kind of guys. I've always liked him, even when he was at K-State himself.
I loved when the second we hired him, I thought it was a great hire. It's just a shame it didn't work out in both Texas games, because outside of that, he would have been a legend at A&M. But I'm so happy.
Is he sticking around for playoffs or no?
I believe so.
Okay, cool.
I believe he's coaching through the playoffs. I think because Chris Klieman stepped down at Kansas State, and I think to my understanding, he's still going to take a role in the team until Klein gets there. But Kansas State did opt out of their bowl game. They were bowl eligible, and the team voted against it because they weren't going to have a head coach. So there's one more spot open. But I'm so happy for Colin Klein. This is the dream job. He was, for those that don't know, he was a Heisman Trophy finalist back in 2012 with Johnny Manziel and Manti Te'o. Just an absolute dog at quarterback. Ran through the Big 12. So fun to watch. And then became, after his playing days at Kansas State, moved up pretty quickly and became the OC there. I think he was the OC there for 5 or 6 years. Maybe it was less, maybe more. I don't totally remember.
I'm pretty sure it's in the realm of 4 to 5 years.
And then A&M hired him 2 years ago as their OC. And I was thrilled when we got him. Thought it was a great fit, especially with the way Elko's defense usually plays. And now he's heading back home because Chris Klieman's stepping down. I think part of this, the reason too, like Kansas State's been pretty good with Klieman, right? He's won 7 natties at North Dakota State before then. But I think they more or less forced him to step down because Klein was looking at other jobs anyway. So they said, if we're going to get him, now's the time. And it was a one-day coaching search to get him. So I'm happy for him.
That's gonna bring a spark, for those fans in general. Just like,
wow, oh my goodness,
right? Yeah. Like the memories and everything they have. Obviously that's gonna spark things around their campus.
Well, he's a good coach too. It's not like Johnny Manziel coming back and like, oh, he's around A&M now. Like, no, dude. Colin Klein can coach. He's been great OC for so long. He's going to be able to recruit well. They're going to run the same stuff they ran for the last 5 years when he was there. And I think a lot of Aggies are in the same boat. Like, it sucks he's missing or he's going away, but we're happy for him and we'll root for him. It's pretty cool.
Andre says, Oregon really not that good to me, bro. They struggle with Big Ten teams. He says, you know what I'm saying? I do know what you're saying. Don't get me started. I don't want to get on this rant, bro. I've been
going an hour already. There's no way we get another hour for Oregon, but that's been on this rant. Show.
Listen, man, I've been on this rant.
Here we go.
I've been on it since I was born, since I came out of the womb. Like, I've been on this. So I will say it till the day I die. I was just on Twitter just giving people so much crap earlier today because this guy's tweeting out, Oregon, here they come. They're quietly putting – here we go. I'm reading it right now. Oregon is quietly putting together a dynasty right in front of our eyes like nobody would believe. No one's noticing us. They still talking about our jerseys and recycling our 0 natty jokes. All right, stay asleep. And these are guys that are top scouting recruits for Oregon tweeting things like this. And you know what? We're going to stay asleep because you guys say the same thing every year. Look at our recruits. We're top. We're this. We're that. Guess what? What do you got to show for it, brother? Nothing. You have nothing to show for it. 0. Like, you're not even in the Big Ten title game this year. You lost to a basketball school. Indiana, you lost to a basketball school. They don't have half the NIL that you guys have. Not even close. Like, I don't want to hear it. And this is what I'm going to say every single time is talk to me, call me back when you do actually win a freaking playoff game and do something with your life. Call me back. Because if Oregon State had the money and if Oregon State had Uncle Phil in their back pocket every day in their life, this isn't even a conversation. Like, you haven't won. A lot of schools
would be that way.
Yeah, and you haven't won in anything. What, track and field? No. Women's golf? Holy crap. God, you guys are so amazing as a university. I can't believe your athletic program. Like, I'm glad you have all these facilities and you got nothing to show for it. Congratulations. At least in a major sport, Oregon State has 3 natties in a major sport. In a sport that is wildly known and well known, and that's called baseball. And that's called going to Omaha. Like, welcome to the club. welcome to it, because I wish we had Uncle Phil money. I really wish. Anyway, I don't want to get on it too much, but good Lord, man. Oh, see, man, blood is boiling. I'm getting all fired up. It's freaking 9:30 at night, and I'm getting
The chat knows
fired
how to
up.
push those buttons. Tanner, I'm not reading that. I'm
I'll
not
read
reading
it.
that. You're not
I'll
gonna
read
you're
it.
not gonna get me going right now. This
Texas
is no.
A&M's first round exits and Tech Tanner. You don't even believe that. They don't even have a horn thrown up this as an emoji. It
Don't
doesn't
even
even work like
believe
that. It doesn't work that way. Stop it. Oregon is better than A&M. You're hilarious. You're still hilarious for that one. Yeah, whatever.
All right, let's get to the coaching instead of the Oregon, because
So we talked
this
about
could go on
Klein.
for hours.
We talked about Klein. I really want to talk about Oregon State. I got to do it. Jamarcus Shepard, welcome to Corvallis, baby. Like, this is a dub, man. This is a huge win in the win category for Oregon State. I mean, I couldn't be happier. I know, obviously, the guy's never been a head coach, so everybody's like, whoa, settle down, like, whatever. You don't understand. Like, this guy has already made an impact. He's only been there 2 days. We're already flipping 4-star receivers from Ole Miss coming over to Oregon State. Like, this is a big deal for the whole entire university. He just seems like a guy that he wants to not only grow the football team, he wants to grow the place. You know, he wants to come in and actually wants to make a staple. And I just couldn't be more excited. I mean, this is the first time I've actually had somebody come in and seem like they actually wanted to build and actually wanted to make a place great, not just come in and maybe fill shoes. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference between coming in to fill shoes because they just need somebody to fill shoes and coming in and actually making progress and doing something about it and actually changing things and turning things around. And I'm hoping that's exactly what he's going to do. Everything in that presser, I really liked what I was hearing, man. Again, I know he's hyping himself up. He's hyping everybody else up. He's trying to make a positive influence from the get-go and from the day that he steps on campus. All fine and dandy, but I liked everything that was coming out of his mouth. It just feels different. Trent Bray, again, just felt like, hey, we're just filling the shoes. Like, we're just finding anybody we can to just have a name as the head coach, and then whatever happens after that, whatever. This feels different. When he's my big thing is, like, how much NIL do we have? Can we compete in that aspect of the football? And the first thing he said was, our goal now is winning a Pac-12 championship in the new conference and making a name, and here we go. They've done it before, bringing the alumni in, which is huge that he's doing.
Huge. Need that for a school like Oregon State.
Bringing in Brandon Cooks, bringing in Jaquiz and James Rogers, Sean Mannion, Tim Ewis, bringing in these guys who have played big-time football at Oregon State
goat,
and
Johnny
in the
Hekker.
pros. Johnny Hekker. I mean, bring in whoever and allowing these guys to be on the sideline and interact with the kids. Like, this is exactly what they need. Like, this is exactly what Oregon State needs. It's a new face. It comes from a new recruiting line and a new aspect and a new area of recruiting that we've never really tapped into. He's down in the South. He's been around with Willie Taggart and now with DeBoer, and had a great time at UW with Adunze and those guys and McMillan against Oregon State a couple years ago for the Pac-12.
He knows how to develop receivers really well, and you can see that already. They've got a couple 3-star kids from Folsom and one from Baltimore right now, and that's just within the first 2 days of being hired. So,
yep. And I can't even tell you the last time we had a 4-star receiver. Don't think we ever have. And so here we go. This is just the start. I hope it continues. I'm stoked, man. I mean, this is big time stuff. Again, I know he hasn't been a head coach before, but that to me is beside the fact. You look and see what his actual record of where he's been and the staffs that he's been on and the type of
he
things
wins
that he's
wherever
produced.
he's at.
And he's been a winner on every single staff that he's been on. So, and I know obviously he's not the head guy and hasn't been the main reason why they're winning, but success is success. And I don't care where you are, success does follow you. And so, let's make it happen, man. This is it. Darius Clemens, 4-star receiver. Sorry, we've had one, and we didn't even get him. He went to Michigan and then came here and he hasn't even played. So that's, again, doesn't even matter.
One more thing about recruit. Tanner also said they gave Bray no time to build his own recruiting class. It's tough in this day and age with college football now, like to give coaches patience beyond 2 years, because you can develop guys so fast and get guys out of the portal. I think it's tough, but two, I saw some reporting from Oregon State side. I think it was Andrew Nemick and Ryan Harlan were both saying stuff about Oregon State recruiting, about how this coaching staff with Shepherd leading the charge is different already compared to Bray and coaches before that too. And they're saying that they're actually giving these Oregon high schools the time, right, and the money, and they're putting an effort to recruit guys instead of just letting Oregon take the best of the best. And that's less than a week of being hired. So I think it's a really good start. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. There's a long way to go, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I mean, he put in there, Tanner said, the presser don't matter. Let's win some games, Shepherd. Come on. I totally agree. But just in terms of how he presents himself is so different from anybody we've ever had. Yeah. Everybody, as Gary Anderson was the most, I don't even know words for how bad and just how he represented himself and the shoulder, the head that he carried on his shoulders. It was just not it. Bray, I love the guy to death, but hearing the stories of getting drunk at the bar in town and, throwing parties at his house on the golf course, and it just didn't seem like he was dialed. Like he honestly could care less about the ultimate result. He was there because he was getting a nice paycheck and he was just those shoes to fill. Bring back Mike Riley. I love Mike Riley.
Mike Riley's too busy being on the college football playoff committee.
And not to mention, he was part of the hiring process of getting Shepherd here.
Yep.
Him and Brandon Cooks, I guess, were the two biggest components and two biggest guys that were really bouncing off with Shepherd and allowing him to, get info and get insight on this place. And hearing words of Shepherd saying they have the NIL money here to do things. We have it. It's here. We just have to make use of it in the right direction and put it in the right places, which is what we talked about a long time ago with spending $2 million on Malik Murphy. That needs to be divvied up, and you can put it towards guys that can contribute and bring energy and actually win some football games. Like, let's do it. Let's do it. So he said, what? Let's hear the stories. I ain't know that. There's so many stories that I know, dude, about Bray, and I'm not going to post it all over here. And yeah, I'm just not going to get into it. But I've had some insight on what Bray was doing. And again, he wasn't focused, man. I think from day one, it was more like, oh, cool. Like my first head coaching gig. And this is where I played. Like, this is super awesome, dude. Like, let's go get drunk. Like that's kind of what it seemed like.
Just like Jonathan Smith, we wanted both to succeed very badly because they were at Oregon State before,
which Smith did,
whether it's coaching or playing. And it's a shame that both of them didn't work out for various reasons, right? One chose to go down a different path, which we already covered the coaching stuff. But the other, it just didn't happen to work out, which is a real shame.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip the bird to you, Jonathan, without doing the bird. But yeah, I'm glad you got fired from your job. Freaking pissed me off. Okay, well, I don't want to go into it too much on the Bees, man, but I'm super excited.
We got a whole off season for that too.
We got a whole off season. I'm super excited. We're going to go into just really quick on predictions this weekend because it is championship weekend with championship matchups. We'll go into that just really, really quick and get out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in and being a part of this and staying here the whole time. Really appreciate that. I know it's late night for some of y'all. First one, JMU minus 23.5 against Troy. I'm not saying to take all these guys. I'm just giving the spreads on here with the favorite. They are basically a 4-touchdown favorite. JMU has looked like they should be a 4-touchdown favorite this entire season. Troy,
except against Wazoo.
Except against Wazoo. Troy is very up and down. I've seen a couple games this year. I know it's a championship game, but I just don't think they really should belong on the same field. James Madison. I do like the spread. I will take James Madison for the points in a giant blowout. Yeah.
I like JMU too, just for the fact that they're trying to make a case to make the playoff, regardless of the Duke-Virginia result, which, again, if Virginia wins, I think they're going to be ranked higher than JMU. But they're going to want to run it up and do as much as they can to make it in. So I'll take JMU and the 23.5.
Perfect. Next one on there, we got North Texas minus 2.5 against Tulane. North Texas has looked impressive in multiple games this year. They've played some bigger name teams like Wazoo and beat them by 50. Tulane has also had a pretty good resume of playing tougher opponents, teams like Ole Miss and such, with Retzlaff at quarterback. I do like Tulane as a dog in this. I think ultimately just on paper, maybe North Texas looks better because of the not stat padding, but they've been able to have some more stat padding type games against lesser opponents. Tulane's had a little bit rougher of a road, a little more battle tested. I do like Tulane plus the 2.5 this weekend against North Texas.
Nice. We're going to differ in this one. I like North Texas. Again, it's a pick 'em game. It's a playoff game. It's going to be must-watch TV. I think a lot of points are going to be scored. But I like North Texas in this. I think Tulane's just distracted with the Summerall thing. I know the players say they're not distracted. They're focused on, this game, the playoffs, just trying to win. But you can't tell me that doesn't take a toll to some extent. And the coaching staff not being completely there, 100% bought in just because he's dual hatting right at Florida and Tulane right now. So I like North Texas 2.5. Again, it's a pick 'em game. I'll take the Mean Green to win and cover.
Mean Green. Next one we got Kennesaw State minus 2.5 against Jacksonville State. I gotta ride Kennesaw State, dude. I mean, they've had a heck of a year. What a bounce back for a program. I don't know too much about Jacksonville State. I've actually kind of paid attention to Kennesaw State just because my cousin went to school there too. So kind of just interesting in that aspect of things. I got to take Kennesaw State. I'm going to take them minus 2.5 this weekend. Yeah, you're going to give me a field goal. I'll take a field goal win. That's good.
I want to differ against you, but I just can't. I love Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
One of the best, I think Jerry Mack at Kennesaw State right now, one of the best coaching jobs in the country. He just won the CUSA Coach of the Year. Unbelievable job as a perennial just dump. Turn them into a contender and on the doorstep of winning. It's been bad for. I mean, they're a team that you take in NCAA, and then you pass up on them because they're so bad. That's what they've been.
You're like, oh God, no! I could be a starter. No, I'm good.
Yep, and now they're on the doorstep of winning the Conference USA. I'll take them just for the storyline. I think it's pretty awesome.
This comes from the news lady. I think it was Channel 8, like probably 12 years ago. There was a fire and this house is on fire, and so when people say like, oh, it was a dump, like it was whatever, and she's live on air and she's like, oh my gosh, guys, right behind me. It's a hot burning fire. And so that's like one of my favorite quotes ever is it's a hot burning fire.
The Kennesaw State has been a hot burning fire for the better part of my life until this year.
Yeah. Next one. I don't know. Is there more chat? I keep seeing chat pop up, dude. Freaking.
It's just Tanner.
I'm never taking Kennesaw State in anything. He said Bama winning by 9. Calling it now. Sorry.
I like that pick, Tanner. I like that pick.
Well, I'm taking Kennesaw State. I don't know if you're going to like this one, but this one, I got to ride with it because I took them at the very beginning of the year to win the Mountain West. UNLV, you're going to give me a field goal there. I'm taking UNLV plus 4.5. I think their defense is good enough. I think they can run the football. Boise State's been very up and down. They've had some really bad letdown games. They've been better as of late, but the lack of play and not having Genty still, and they just have not found a guy with that type of caliber to replace Genty. In a neutral site game, I'm taking UNLV plus 4.5.
I think it's in Boise. These games are in Boise.
Oh, do they actually play them at the?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's possible snow in Boise.
I was just gonna say, can I check the weather? But regardless,
you keep going on it. I'll check the weather for you.
Okay, because I was gonna say if it's gonna snow. Boise boys are built for that, so maybe the minus 4.5 would be safe. If it's not going to snow, it's going to be clear. Yeah, it's going to be cold. UNLV's lose to a dome.
It's going to be 42 and rainy in Boise on Friday night.
I'm taking UNLV. I'm taking them to still cover that 4.5.
As you should. I mean, you picked them at the beginning of the year with Dan Mullen leading the charge for the first time. So I'm proud of you for sticking with that. I said
it was going to come down to this exact game. It was going to be the same two teams. It's coming down to it. I was really hoping New Mexico was going to be in this mix this year from last week.
I would like to claim New Mexico as my Mountain West champ, and no one can take that away from them. So
yeah,
I'm taking Boise to win and obviously cover. But New Mexico, you're my Mountain West champ.
We love it. Next one. So yeah, UNLV plus 4.5. Love that. This one, we were talking about this earlier. I said this last weekend when I was watching this game against West Virginia. Texas Tech rolling them. It was like 28-0 in the first half. This is my pick to maybe win the Natty. If it's not Ohio State, I love Tech to maybe possibly win a Natty this year. Depends on the matchups they got coming into the playoff. I think that's going to play a huge part in it and who they draw in the first round. if they can draw a team in the first round that they match up pretty well against, like I think they clobber BYU. We saw like the Utah BYU game. We saw Tech play Utah when it was game day and supposed to be a close matchup, and Tech ran the floor with them.
It should have been a bigger blow. That's going to be one of my points too. The score did not begin to reflect how badly they got beaten. I want to say it was like 29-7 or something, and Tech had a couple turnovers and settled for some field goals.
Yeah.
It could have been significantly worse. So I'll take Tech to win and cover the 12.5 as well. BYU's not winning by 10, Tanner. I would love to see you put some money on that, because there's just no way.
They're not going to be storming Mormons.
I want to see how they attack Tech differently, though, offensively and defensively, after seeing them once. And I know after the game they said that we're a couple plays away here and there, which again that's winner mentality, right? A couple things you can change. I just don't see it, but I would love to see how they game plan this one differently, and hopefully prove me wrong. I hope it's a good close game, but I love Tech in this, and I think they're putting themselves in a position to possibly be higher than a 4 seed and really get a decent draw and make a run to the playoff.
Well, and their only loss was Arizona State in a 24-17 game. And again,
with a backup quarterback.
With a backup quarterback, I was just going to say that too. And Sam Levitt was at Arizona State still at the time, and Levitt, obviously, we've seen him in the playoff last year. He's kind of a proven guy. He is a decent quarterback. So Arizona State, they actually, at times, I think were a really good football team this year with Levitt, and then they kind of dropped off the face of the map when he got hurt and is leaving.
Yep.
But I do like Tech with the starting quarterback back and they're healthy and the defense rolling. I do like Tech. I do see them making a big push in the playoff with that defense and the ability to score 30+ points a week. When they played Oregon State this year, and I mean, given it was Oregon State, they literally lost to Tulsa and Sam Houston. But when they played Tech, I was like, oh my God, like this is so bad.
Legit. They're a legit team.
They are legit. They made us literally look like a bunch of freshmen, 13, 14-year-old boys on that field. Like, I was like, we shouldn't even be D1. Like, we should be a D2 football team. So yeah, I do like
little
Tech.
Did they know they were playing a top 5 team in the country.
But, yes, little did they know.
Good
Western Michigan -2.5 against Miami, Ohio. Row the boat. We got to take Western Michigan on this one. Give me the Broncos -2.5.
Jacob Rodriguez for Heisman, says Tanner. I hope he gets a chance at New York. I don't think he will. I think it's going to be, Pavia Mendoza.
Yeah, what about
Pavia? But Jacob Rodriguez winning the Heisman would be so sick, or just having his name considered as a defensive guy. You said Western Michigan. I'll take Western Michigan as well. Again, I want to disagree with you, but I took the Ohio Bobcats as my MAC team to win the MAC this year, and I can't root for rival Miami, Ohio. So I'll take the Broncos in Western Michigan.
Well, we'll see if we differ on this one. UGA -2.5 against Bama. Again, you already know where I have to go because I have to do it because of my family. I can't root for Bama.
If your family wasn't involved in this, would you still take Georgia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can confirm I would take Georgia because of the 2.5 hook for a field goal, because it's probably going to be a field goal game. It's going to be a knockdown drag out game. And this is the second most exciting matchup of the weekend, I think, in my opinion. I do like I do like Georgia for a field goal. But again, I wouldn't be surprised. Bama beat them the first time, and it's a story old as time. It's SEC football, man. You just don't know. Yep. So yeah, give me Georgia.
It's going to be a good game. I'm going to take Bama +2.5. I think Bama's going to win. And again, close game, could go either way. Kirby Smart is cursed by Bama, and I don't know how he breaks it. This might be the game that does it, but they already lost once this year. It could easily happen again. I think Bama takes this one without any crazy prediction. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out game, though. I can't wait for it. The real question is, if Bama wins this game, they're a 10 seed right now, or they're ranked 10th. Do they all jump all the way up and secure a top 4 seed with 2 losses? I think they do. I don't think you can leave an SEC team, especially the SEC champ, out of a bye week.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. Yeah, Let's just hope it doesn't happen. Let's just hope Uggo wins.
That would be really chaotic. What? Okay, I'll propose this real quick, and then I know we got 2 more games, then wrapping up. But most people say Bama can lose this game and still make the playoff, which I agree. I don't think they should be punished that much for playing in the SEC championship. Let's just say Georgia wins by 3 touchdowns. Do you think that changes the committee at all? And do you think that bumps Bama out because they're already technically a bubble team, but they're on the inside of the bubble, but it's
Yeah,
close.
because then
You think
they
that
could look
changes
at
anything?
that first game as a fluke. Like, oh, they beat them in a fluke. Like Georgia had a really off week. If Georgia just came in and just absolutely housed them and boat raced them,
Yeah.
yeah, I do think that changes things quite a bit.
Okay. Well, we'll see. There's plenty of chaos to be had from a ranking standpoint, or possibly, missing the playoff standpoint. So we'll see. I agree with that though.
The basketball school I talked about earlier, Indiana. Give me the Hoosiers. Give me the Hoosiers plus 4.5. Thank you for giving me the hook and the extra point there. I love that. I think Indiana has a great chance of winning this game outright.
Mhm.
Ohio State has not seen a team like them all year. They are very consistent, very disciplined. They're very balanced. Mendoza's been great. I don't know. I like the plus 4.5. I would even sprinkle in the dollar free bet on taking Indiana money line type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I do like that. Yeah, give me Indiana plus 4.5. That is my take for this week. This is definitely my most exciting matchup of the weekend, just because, and both of these teams are going to get in.
They're both good. They
Regardless.
should both stay top 4, regardless of
Yes,
outcome.
they should, but both of them will get in regardless. But I think it'll just be a fun little tester
Mhm.
going into all the madness of the 12 teams and just seeing really who is number one. Like whoever wins this game is number one.
Mhm.
The clear cut. So
Which
yeah,
would be, well, I want Indiana to win. I'm
me too.
going to pick Ohio State minus 4.5. Are you giving me the hook there? I guess 4.5.
4.5.
I put 4 in here, but okay. I'll take Ohio State minus 4.5. They're the number 1 team to me until proven otherwise. That being said, nothing would surprise me in this game at all, besides maybe an Indiana blowout. But I could see an Ohio State blowout or a close game either way. But I just want to see at the end of the year the number 1 by Indiana going into the playoff, because that would be so cool. That'd
Yeah.
be, again, they're playing for the Big Ten championship for the first time in 60 years.
And this is what I'm
I,
talking about with football. This is
I
what I
would
want. I
love
want
to.
the new teams.
And
That's
it's
what I want.
going to be a home game for Indiana. It's in Indianapolis, the Colts Stadium, Lucas Oil. It's going to be 80-20 probably Hoosiers fans there.
Yeah.
Top ticket in town.
Hoosiers.
It will be so fun. I can't
Love
wait.
it.
I'll take Ohio State. I'm rooting for Indiana. I hope the upset happens.
Next one, last one of the night. Thank you for everybody for staying on here and tuned in. Virginia minus 3.5 versus Duke. Duke has been very surprising. Like they played Wake Forest, and I thought maybe Wake Forest was like really surprising me and totally throwing me off. They beat some teams they shouldn't have and were pretty good offensively. And I was like, okay, like maybe Wake Forest. I thought maybe they would beat Duke outright. And they were a dog to Duke, and Duke really handled business and put it to them just last week. So this is tough. Duke's got a little bit of momentum. They beat a team that maybe I thought they might lose to. But Virginia, man, they've been shocking. They've been another basketball school. It's kind of been shocking, kind of been decent. They've gotten away with a couple crazy weird wins, like Wazoo type of thing.
Well, and the overtime or double overtime win against Florida State too. Remember when they stormed the field and everyone thought that was, oh my God, a top 10.
They thought it was a great
and
win.
Florida State turns out to be what they are, which I guess is more than Bama can say because they lost to them outright. But that's beside the point.
That is beside the point.
Virginia's done just enough to win a lot of games this year. And both teams earn their way into it. It's just insane to see 7-5 Duke up there. But again, Duke had that a similar quarterback situation too, where they portaled in Darian Mensah this offseason from Tulane.
Yep.
And then imagine telling a Duke fan at the beginning of the year, you're going to lose. Well, I guess Elko was gone 2 years ago, but your team's going to be fairly gutted. Manny Diaz is going to piece together a pretty decent team. You're going to pay Darian Mensah a ton of money to transfer in from Tulane, and you're going to play for the ACC title. Just don't ask about the record. I think they'd be pretty happy about that.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I would totally agree. Classic ACC basketball top 10 matchup right here. But we're getting in football, not top 10, but
in front of dozens of fans in Charlotte. It's going to be awesome.
Dozens. Yeah, no, I do like Virginia. I at least like a money line. The -3.5 is a little scary, just because of that half, but I don't know. I think I got to go with the favorite. I got to go -3.5 with Virginia. This one, I'm gonna believe in the hype a little bit, and they're gonna show why Duke is actually 7-5. That's what I am believing this weekend.
Good. And I choose to root for chaos. And if I can't do it with Indiana, I'm going to do it with Duke. I'll take Duke +3.5. I'll take Duke to win outright. I think they're going to score a lot of points. I really do think it's going to be a fun game. I know we're dumping on them, but it's the ACC championship game. They're playing for something big. You know, there's a playoff berth on the line for Virginia, and Duke, if they win, I'm sure will try to pander their way in like Texas, but they'll probably just play the horns in the Pop-Tart Bowl instead. So it's going to be fun regardless.
Don't bag on the Pop-Tart Bowl. We love Pop-Tarts.
I might drive to that this year.
I love giant Pop-Tarts that I can eat. That's cool.
I'd be down for that. My favorite bowl game of the year. It's my Super Bowl.
I mean, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than the mayonnaise bowl. Like, let's not.
Well, no.
There's nothing worse than that.
I will not argue that at all.
Makes me freaking sick. I'm not gonna lie. Every year watching people get mayonnaise dumped on their head makes me ill. Like, I don't even like mayonnaise at all. So
no, we'll have to do a bowl like preview and ranking show.
Yes,
with teams aside, just our favorite bowl games. Period.
Like bowl game,
and then do the matchups
names.
Afterwards.
Yeah, bowl game names and like where they're at, I guess.
And the best sponsor, and maybe the sponsor that if you could choose any company to have anywhere, what it would be.
I'd put out some poll questions. Like, give me some poll questions and people can vote on it. Yeah, we definitely have to do that.
We'll workshop this one. Give it a week or two, maybe during Army Navy week next week.
Mayo Bowl's on the bottom. I don't give a shit. It's on the bottom. It's horrible. No one wants mayo dumped on your head when you win. No, I think it should be the loser. I
like the coaches buying. No, the coaches buying into it's kind of fun though. PJ Fleck getting mayo dumped on his head is never not funny to me.
It is fun. It still makes me want to throw up, and I still think it would be better if they did it to the losing coach, because then it's even worse. You lost and you got mayonnaise poured on your head.
I love the guys that they show in the crowd that are just eating tubs of mayo. It
would be even better if the winning coach could pour it on the losing coach's head. Now that
would be really funny.
That would be awesome. That would be
awesome.
Probably have to sign a waiver or something. Probably have to sign a waiver. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's kind of a long one today, but in a late night one. I know it's super late for Liam over there. It's 1:00 in the morning almost. But he's still up. He's alive. He's doing well.
We love it. It's fun.
Yeah, we're all good, man. East Coast to West Coast. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate Liam. Thanks for coming on and talking football again. We love it. Always good insight. Always good info, good stuff. Thank you guys, man. Tune in, like, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Total Coverage Sports down the bottom. It's been going on the whole night. I know you can see it. Please do so. Or follow me at LowHurt24 on X. Appreciate that as well. Both ways you can tune in. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you back here next week. Do the coaches shuffle. Championship weekend. Here we go. All right. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.